Afternoon, everybody.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Well, let's start right here. Jess Campbell said something after the split squad game and how much she loved the development process of it and helping get guys ready here for the NHL. In a way, seeing some of these kids still hang around, what have you appreciated about what the work that Dan and Jess and others have done for the guys in Coachella Valley to get ready here?
Well, they're good coaches. I mean, obviously they have different pathways and different experiences, in and throughout the game. But you sit in a room with different hockey people, and they're good hockey people, great minds. They work really hard at what they do, and have obviously been really important in infusing a ton of confidence in our younger players, and obviously being a huge part of pushing their development.
In what way did Riker make the biggest impression in Game 1 up in Calgary?
For me, the biggest area is just he let the game settle down after the first couple of shifts. So I was impressed with the things that he did on the offensive blue line. His poise, his ability to walk the line, his ability to create some time and space up there. That was pretty apparent throughout the game. And I just thought, like I said, as he went through the game, the rest of the package kind of settled down, and maybe the game seemed to slow down for him a little bit.
Hey Dave, you mentioned the other night you liked the third period. Anybody in particular who stood out in terms of performance?
It wasn't really an individual thing. We finally had a little bit more. Number one, we had an opportunity to play 5-on-5, which we really didn't have for the majority of, for sure the middle portion of that game. I mean, there was no 5-on-5. There was zero flow. So we got a little bit of flow. We were able to, sustain some effort and some energy and some pace on some pucks, and that was more of a collective statement than an individual statement.
Dave Tippett joining the organization as a coaching consultant. What is his role going to look like, and how nice is it to have him on staff?
Oh, wealth of experience. I mean, he's been through the league in different capacities, different levels. Starting obviously with a player and as certainly as a coach. So. Just a guy that brings a wealth of knowledge into our organization. Really valuable resource for our coaching staff to work with, and to be able to bounce ideas off of, be able to discuss different scenarios. As I said, just a really good sounding board and a wealth of knowledge.
What would you say is the ideal number of Daves to have on a coaching staff? Can you ever have too many?
Never can have too many. Never.
I don't know how to follow that, but
lunch?
Yeah, for preseason games like tomorrow night, do you have a mental checklist? Like, I want to see this guy in this situation. I want to see this guy on the power play. That would obviously be different than a regular season game.
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe different than what we saw last year. The first thing you have to remember is there's limited opportunity. There's a lot of guys that I would like to see in different roles and a lot of different situations, but when you really break it down, the opportunities to put guys into these different spots and different positions and give them different opportunities really limited. We've had a split squad. We have 4 other exhibition games, and right now you don't need too many fingers to count the number of practices that we have between now and the first regular season game. So, yes, we'll try to do that. We'll try to put guys into different spots, give them different, not necessarily different, but give them opportunity to show us how they can perform and what they can bring in different roles. And then, in reality, we can overthink some of that as well, and that's the one thing we don't want our players doing. We don't want them to overthink the opportunity in front of them. That's been a real strength of our group is guys feeling really comfortable and confident to go out and play the way that they play and do that freely.
There's 6 games on your preseason slate. The NHL allows up to 8 preseason games. Are you comfortable with 6? Would you prefer an extra 1 or 2?
No, not necessarily. We've been in different scenarios where we've had 8, and there's years when that feels like way too many. you're jamming guys into, one or two too many games. So I think the setup that we have this year is pretty good. We had a lot of guys have opportunity in the split squad. Those were really valuable, especially for a lot of our young guys. Those are great opportunities. Now we're down to a schedule and a routine where we have 4 games in front of us to be able to make some decisions, and most importantly to be able to prepare to get to a regular season level, which we've still, we've got a few notches to go here.
You have a lot of power play work today. How big of an emphasis is that going to be for the team trying to improve upon last year? And can you comment on any changes you might be making to try to improve?
Well, I mean, you saw the 3 groups today, so I mean we're really early in the process. The hidden piece there, our power play, at times was really effective and really, had a really dynamic impact on the outcomes of our game. So, we want to add a little bit more consistency to that. When I look at different roles and different areas that we want to improve on, one of the things we have to do, we have to start with the puck more on our power play. That is, that's an area that brings you momentum right away. Our entries are not a problem. We've been very good at getting in the zone and getting set up, but when you have to do that too often at the start of a 2-minute power play, you're giving momentum away right away. So there's going to be there's going to be a little more competition in terms of some of the spots that we're going to put people in. We're going to shift some of the roles and give guys a little different look and a little different opportunity, and try to push the envelope for the overall production level of the power play.
Nice to have Burkowski back.
Yeah, Berkey, he brings that. I talked about our entries, and our entries have been pretty good. Berkey, that's one area where that's a huge strength of his. So, he'll bring that as well as other things in the zone.
Hey,
How
Dave.
comfortable or confident Kyler's looked, especially with a couple goals the other night?
Yeah, he almost been pretty. He's been good. Like he's a competitive guy. He's a confident player. He's played a lot in this league, so we threw a lot at him the other night in terms of specialty teams. He was on the PK, he was on the power play. He played a lot of minutes 5-on-5, but he handles those very well. His intelligence is really apparent. He understands the game. He grasps basic systems really quickly. And like I said, he's a competitive guy that has some ability. So he's, we've been happy with his first, few days of training camp and the first exhibition game.
Do you plan on being down to pretty much your NHL roster by games 5 and 6?
No, I don't think we will. Not by game 5. We've got, it's a pretty short runway between now and then, and nothing is set in stone. I'll tell you that right now. We have good discussions after each and every day, but to say we would be down to close to an NHL roster by or before game 5 is that's a little early.
Dave, I was going to ask about the coaching staff. Any changes in responsibilities or duties?
No, everybody's in very similar roles.
Is Tippett like a roving instructor? Is he based somewhere else and will consult?
Yeah, no, he's a guy that he'll be, he's obviously, it's nice to have him here for training camp for a few days, and then, he's always going to be available from long distance.
Looks like John Hayden got banged up on ring 2. Did you get any report on him?
Yeah, nothing. He wasn't available for the rest of practice. We'll see where he's at later this afternoon and see I don't know what his availability will be yet for tomorrow morning. So that's really all I have right now.
You mentioned consistency as something you guys wanted to work on. What are some other key factors that you've taken away from last season that you want to bring into this season?
Yeah, for our group, it's just, it's taking advantage of every day, and that's one of the real strengths of our group last year. We were able to create some good momentum and get on some great rolls, and put some wins back to back. More importantly, we were able to limit the stretches where things didn't go well. We didn't lose more than 3 in a row all year, and that's a really important piece. And I think that speaks to, more importantly than just the statistics of that speaks to the demeanor of the group. They, kind of water off a duck's back. We were able to flip the page a little bit. Figure out a way to get out of a rut before it got too deep, and that's that kind of resiliency. If there's one thing that we want to see continue, that's a big one for me.
Good.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks,
All right,
Zach.
thank you. See you guys tomorrow.
Able to rebound on